The following is a commercial program paid for by Heritage Agriculture. The opinions and views expressed belong to its sponsors and are not those of Nexstar Broadcasting, Inc., this station, or their affiliates or employees.
Welcome to Arkansas Farm Talk, where we will look at issues that affect agriculture here in the natural state. Brought to you by Heritage Agriculture. Here's your host, Mike Linton.
Welcome to Arkansas Farm Talk. I'm your host, Mike Linton. My guests today are Mr. Rich Hillman, President, and Mr. Warren Carter, Executive Vice President of Arkansas Farm Bureau. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Rich, I'm going to start with you. I've heard you say many times, farming is not just a job, but it's a lifestyle. Let's talk about that just a minute.
Well, Mike, it's a broad statement. It means a lot to farmers and ranchers across the state of Arkansas, especially in the time that we find ourselves in right now. But there's so much pride in raising food that feed hungry people. And I'm a sixth generation farmer. My son is the seventh. That tells you there's a long line of folks that have received great pride out of the job that we've done. Especially during this COVID-19 era, part of our history, that people understand that there could be shortages. There have been in certain cases, and hopefully we're over most of that right now.
Yeah.
But the pride of providing and feeding hungry people, that's a lifestyle.
Well, you know, farming and ranching is not an 8-to-5 job. You know, it doesn't matter what day it is. It doesn't matter if it's a weekend. It doesn't matter if it's a holiday. You know, I had a cow down calving the other day. You know, she didn't know it was a holiday. You know, we worked out at the farm one whole day and got home, took a shower, and got a call and said, "Mike, you got 6 cows out. There ain't nothing between them and the interstate." And so we got back in there. You know, cows didn't know it was weekend. It was time to go home. You know, so anyway, the job. It's not a job. It's a lifestyle. That's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
You know, Warren, let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Farm Bureau represents more than 190,000 families in Arkansas. Farm Bureau's mission is to advocate interest in agriculture to the public arena. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, Mike, when most folks hear about the Farm Bureau, they think about our insurance companies. I mean, the insurance companies were actually formed some 15 years after the organization started. And they've become obviously the most visible and recognizable part of the name Farm Bureau. But you mentioned representing 190,000 members. You mentioned our mission statement, which is, again, to advocate for agriculture, to disseminate information about the importance of agriculture, and to provide products and services that benefit our members. So that's what we do. And we have these long definitions that kind of describe what we are organizationally. But at the end of the day, we're basically a trade show for agriculture, for rural communities, and certainly in a state like Arkansas, we think for the whole state. So yeah, we're out there advocating. We are, we have membership dues our members pay, and then we do things that benefit them in agriculture, again, in rural communities, and we think benefiting the whole state of Arkansas at the same time.
You know, I know it says Arkansas Farm Bureau Insurance, so a lot of people think that Farm Bureau is just an insurance company. Yeah. But I can tell you, nobody fights harder for the farmers and ranchers in the state of Arkansas than Arkansas Farm Bureau does. I can tell you that. I don't know how many times a year you go to Washington Ridge to go up there and see our legislators. How many times a year do you think you go?
Well, on the normal year, and of course we're not in normal anymore, but in a normal year, I will be in Washington probably 6 to 7 times.
Yeah.
And that's been muted because of COVID-19. But the face-to-face meetings with our senators and our congressmen to bring the message of the livestock guy from Scott County, the farmer in Craighead County, they can't be there. They're on their farms and ranches doing their job every day, and they are dependent on Farm Bureau taking their message and being their voice in Washington, D.C. and also here in Little Rock.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this. I know nobody fights harder for the farmers and ranchers, and nobody carries the voice forward like Arkansas Farm Bureau does. Warren, let's talk about current conditions we're facing in agriculture, market and trade issues. Would you speak on that just a minute?
Well, obviously, when you look currently, you have to start and really look at COVID-19 and the impacts they've had certainly in world markets and domestic markets alike. We really had market issues out there and market and trade wars to some degree before this COVID-19 pandemic broke out. So things were not in a good place when this started. And obviously you've seen in the news some of the things that have gone on since this has happened. It's disrupted world trade, it's disrupted the world economy, obviously our domestic economy, more importantly, this food supply chain out there that we talk about quite a bit. I mean, we're geared up really in this country, particularly if you look at the protein markets, producing food where a large portion of it, if not half of it, at least 40%, consumed in food service establishments. So, you know, the downside when those close down, certainly when schools close down, you find yourself where the market you have structured, this finely tuned machine to meet that demand, doesn't quite meet it the same way. So it's created backlogs, it's caused obviously some difficulty in the livestock markets, poultry markets, really any of your agricultural commodities, and certainly the impact I think it's had on the world economy and world trade has been detrimental, as you can see in farm market prices for our farmers across the board.
You know, it's estimated, this was really before COVID-19 really hit, but it was estimated that we were going to export around $139.5 billion worth of commodities this year, but we were going to import around $131 billion this year. I don't really understand that. Could you speak on that just a minute?
Well, I mean, you know, in trade there's a lot of give and takes, and I mean it speaks to the demand and the production capacity, and people do in different parts of the world what they do best. We have fought and continue to fight for fair trade across the board, really open markets, and we've tried to do the things here to make sure our producers, I wouldn't say are protected, but that they have an opportunity to compete, because we believe our producers are the most efficient, most productive anywhere in the world, and the statistics bear that out. So anyway, that's our primary thing as it comes to trade and market.
Sure. Well, you know, I agree with you 100%. We've talked about it. Our farmers and ranchers are the greatest producers in the world. Rich, I'm going to touch on some stuff when we come back. We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Arkansas Farm Talk.
Since 1921, we've been supporting rice farmers across America. These are the farmers who own our co-op, who prosper together, striving to do more for their communities, going deeper, working smarter, growing stronger. That's how we make good even better. That good comes from the time and toil they're passing down of a way of life that supports not only their families, but families all over the world. So the world can be served with great food. Riceland. United, we grow.
In good times and hard times, Arkansas Farm Bureau is there. We're always working, so our state's farmers and ranchers can continue to put food on store shelves and on your family's dinner table. We support training for medical care in rural communities and the industries that provide materials needed for critical supplies. Arkansas Farm Bureau, working every day to keep Arkansas strong.
The Case IH sales event is going on now, making it a great time to get the equipment you need at a price you can afford. You'll find new Farmall, Maxim, and Puma Series tractors, along with our complete line of hay tools, all at a special rate. But hurry, the sales event ends August 31st.
Keeping farms running, construction moving, and towns maintained is essential. That's why Kubota is working to keep you working. Right now, get 0% financing and no payments for 90 days. Offer expires May 31st. Visit KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer. Kubota, together we do more.
No matter how you buy ag equipment, Ag Direct can finance it. We're powered by Farm Credit, people who know agriculture. So along with options to purchase, lease, or refinance, Ag Direct offers attractive rates, helpful service, and ag-friendly terms. When you compare the price of iron, be sure to compare your cost of money. Ask for Ag Direct, built for agriculture, powered by Farm Credit.
Make sure you're prepared for the busy planting season ahead with Great Plains planters and drills available at Heritage Agriculture. The Great Plains lineup of planters and drills, including the 3P4025AH twin row and YP825 planters, are accurate, dependable planting solutions, ready to help you kick off your planting season. Heritage Agriculture, the 7 locations to serve you. We're customer focused, customer driven, and we want your business.
Welcome back to Arkansas Farm Talk. Rich, we were just talking about some of the conditions we're facing here in agriculture. Weather and potential flooding is a big deal to us, and some of our areas in our state are facing flooding right now. Talk about that a little bit.
You know, the late great Yogi Berra had a saying, it's deja vu all over again. Mike, it's deja vu all over again when we talk about flooding. I know our farmers and ranchers across the state have dealt with this. I think we've had a 100-year flood 3 years out of the last 6.
Wow.
We're holding our breath right now. I've talked to some folks around the state actually yesterday, especially in the River Valley, and they're watching they're watching the NOAA app each and every day, and they're good right now. But if we get the forecasted rains, we'll have some flooding, and again, it will be devastating for agriculture.
You know, last year was, I think, the second all-time wettest year we've ever had. This year started out wetter than that. It started out wetter than that. Thank goodness we got a small window that we've gotten quite a bit of corn, quite a bit of rice planted, and a pretty good jump on soybeans, and then here we go again. So we've got some more rain we're having to deal with, but hopefully all of our farmers and ranchers in flood areas won't have no major issues, and we can get on and put up the best crop we ever had, I hope.
I've told people, Mike, around, and told my son, who's done a great job on the farm, but we're trying to sneak a crop in this year, and we're literally trying to do that. We've had 2 and 3 day windows. And we're coming along, but I think we're getting to the point in time when we look at the calendar that will be some short acres. I think we're short a few corn acres already. I think the rice acres will get shorter as the days go on.
You think there'll be any preventative plant acres this year?
Yes, I do.
Do you really?
Unfortunately, because I can tell you, even if you have pretty good crop insurance, that prevented planted acre is nothing like having a regular acre planted. And certainly if you're on a crop share, you're leasing ground, those landlords, they like to have that crop in the ground because that's their share.
Well, sure, absolutely.
So there will be, unfortunately, especially in a lot of the lower ground, low fields and heavy soils, there will be prevented planted acres again.
Yeah. Warren, we've touched on COVID-19, how, some of the effects we've had. Just let me ask you this, what's your take, general economic impact, and then our food supply disruptions, because it's been crazy. Yeah. Would you speak on that real quick?
Well, and I mentioned that earlier. I think you look at the impacts, anytime economic conditions are bad, and certainly not sure they were great before, but as we go into a situation with COVID-19, it's had a tremendous detrimental impact on markets, and that affects anybody doing any kind of business, including agriculture. We mentioned the supply chain disruptions. We're still dealing with those to some degree. Food processing facilities, the ability to get those workers back in there, and not just get them in, but you got to get them in and continue to have the same efficiency and speed of operation in those processing plants. And that's a struggle as we deal with social distancing and those type of things. Mention a little bit too about the COVID-19 impacts in terms of labor. And while it's probably been mitigated somewhat in the last few weeks, we had some labor concerns early on, even to the point of having a farmer here who had a immigrant labor coming in from South Africa, and that person made it all the way to Atlanta, Georgia, found out his connecting flight was in a country that had restricted travel, and they sent him back home. So one thing we did working with Congressman Rick Crawford is start a program called Farm Corps. And what Farm Corps is, it was initially looking primarily at National Guardsmen in the state. We've also broadened it to look at reservists, to other branches of the military, even veterans, but those folks that are part of that military service that may have been laid off from work, and how to get them hooked up with farmers that are needing labor out there at a time when they can't get it. And we haven't had a whole lot of success, but we have had, just in the last couple of weeks, we've made 17 connections. We have 17 folks that have gone out here, gone to work for farms that were laid off or furloughed members of the military in some capacity here in Arkansas. So we're proud of that. We've even seen some other states around the country reach out and try to develop similar programs of their own.
You don't have any service technicians, do you? Because, I mean, we're looking to hire service technicians every day.
Mike, you might ought to get on the portal, because you can go out there and you can list the job you're looking for and describe it and the length, the duration, and the whole 9 yards. And then people, and quite honestly, you say that there may be somebody in the military that does work like that might be beneficial.
Well, it sounds like I need to do that. All right, Rich, USDA has passed a bill, Coronavirus Food Assistance Program. It's going to be a direct payment to producers. Tell me what you know about that.
Well, we're still, we just started sign up at FSA yesterday, and we're thankful that Washington has helped out. It's a myriad of help for a number of commodities. Specifically, we were looking for major help for our livestock, in particular our cattle, beef cattle. They've been hard hit and struggling because of the market. And the market has rebounded somewhat, Mike, but as you know, there was a large period of time that the market was absolutely, you could hardly sell cattle. And if you could, you were almost giving it away. So we've had some help there. In our opinion, they've come up a little bit short, but we're very, very optimistic that we will get more help on that. On row crop side, corn and soybeans predominantly, there was some help. Those commodities have been depressed on the market, and there was some help for them. I can tell you that the help that they have had through this program, it's not going to make anyone whole. It's a Band-Aid right now, but we're very optimistic that more help will be on the way shortly.
Well, you know, a Band-Aid is better than nothing.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to tell you, we have so many farm families that's their living. I mean, that's what they spend. You know, they need this money. They need this help. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Arkansas Farm Talk.
Morgan Linton with Heritage Agriculture's Deal of the Week. This week is the Orange Line package deal from Kubota. L2501 Kubota loader, land pride cutter and box blade with an Orange Line trailer. $19,999 cash price, or as low as $259 a month. 0 down, 0% APR financing for 84 months. Payments not due for 90 days. We're customer focused, we're customer driven. We'll see you at Heritage Agriculture.
No matter how you buy ag equipment, Ag Direct can finance it. We're powered by Farm Credit, people who know agriculture. So along with options to purchase, lease, or refinance, Ag Direct offers attractive rates, helpful service, and ag-friendly terms. When you compare the price of iron, be sure to compare your cost of money. Ask for Ag Direct. Built for agriculture. Powered by Farm Credit.
There's no better time than now to get a great deal on the Kubota Mx tractor. Mow, haul, dig, lift. With the #1 selling subcompact tractor in the U.S. for over 10 years, you own the land. Now, make it yours. Get the Kubota Mx 2380 for payments as low as $99 a month now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
During these busy and challenging times, Krone wants you to know we've got your back. So we're offering you 90 days of deferred payments on select models of Krone mowers, tedders, rakes, and round balers. That's right, make no payments for 90 days. And you can choose from 0% financing options to get the new Krone equipment you need. Check out these low monthly payment examples on select models of new Krone equipment.
A lot of land comes with a lot of work. The new Kubota Mx Series has a lot to offer, including the versatility to mow, move hay bales, grade roads, and clear brush and snow. An optional spacious cab to keep you comfortable in any conditions. A front-end loader with excellent loader lift capacity, hydrostatic or gear transmission options, and affordably priced. Visit your local Kubota dealer today.
Since 1921, we've been supporting rice farmers across America. These are the farmers who own our co-op, who prosper together, striving to do more for their communities, going deeper, working smarter, growing stronger. That's how we make good even better. That good comes from the time and toil they're passing down of a way of life that supports not only their families, but families all over the world, so the world can be served with great food. Riceland. United, we grow.
Welcome back to Arkansas Farm Talk. Rich, we've been talking about the coronavirus, the food assistance program, everything that's going on right now. Let me ask you this. Our growers, you know they're struggling with prices being paid on commodities and beef. What do you think is holding the prices down?
Well, I think there's three things, Mike. Trade, trade, trade.
Yeah.
Our major trade lanes have been interrupted. Certainly China, that's very obvious, but other trade lanes with other countries have been interrupted. And it's not necessarily that we have a difference of opinion with them, it's logistics. They're battling the same things that we are here in the United States, and so logistically we've been stifled there. But the big deal in a lot of the row crop commodities is China. And everybody's taking a wait and see attitude, and hopefully we can make that situation a little bit better down the road.
Well, you know, everything's China, 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 but you know, isn't the majority of our rice go to Mexico?
Yes. And on the rice front, I can tell you, especially long grain rice, it has fared very, very well out of this pandemic. Medium grain, which we raise about 20% of our rice crop in Arkansas is medium grain. It has not enjoyed the success that long grain rice has, but we're constantly looking for new avenues to sell rice. And
so I know our growers. We're in rice country, and our farmers are they're rice growers is what they are. But I also know that rice makes up less than 3% of the total market. So that's some of the things that our farmers and growers fight sometimes.
That's right.
You know, Warren, having the voice in Washington, is there anything else that you think that we could do to take the fight forward?
Well, I mean, trade from Farm Bureau's perspective is one of the most important things we work on. It's a priority issue we work on all the time. And yeah, we're constantly in contact in Washington. As you look through this COVID-19 pandemic, we've had to do things differently, but I can assure you our staff have been in contact with the congressional office, our entire delegation, practically daily. As we do during this COVID-19 time, we're having these Zoom calls at least 3 times a week with American Farm Bureau and trade and the things we do to work on getting these markets open, having fair trade, giving our producers the opportunity to compete is something we're working on. And as I said, we're struggling a little bit right now for a variety of reasons, but really I think globally the economic conditions coming out of this pandemic are having a detrimental impact on our producers across the board.
Well, you know, again, I want to thank you guys for what you do, because someone has to be willing to take our voice forward. Someone has to go to Washington, because that's where the decisions are made. And someone has to go fight the fight for us. And Arkansas Farm Bureau does that. I'm thankful. I know all of our farmers and growers are, you know. As a grower, and this is a question for both of y'all, as a grower, what do you think that we can do to be more informed about programs moving forward? Rich?
Well, certainly Farm Bureau fills a lot of those spaces in. We, on our website, on social media, we're not only posting that information ourselves, but also leading the reader to some of the USDA websites that have a lot of information. We're probably privy to more information as a farmer than we ever have before.
I agree with that.
That information's out there. They can jump on our Arkansas Farm Bureau website or even American Farm Bureau website, and we'll lead you to that information.
Yeah. Warren, would you like to speak on that?
Well, it's just like Rich said, we've got a whole page on our website devoted entirely to COVID-19 resources. We have links there. We've talked a lot today about the stress in agriculture. We've got links there to stress management information. So if you're struggling out there and need some help, look for that. But we have a whole public relations team. We do publications. We have the website. We've got all these social media outlets, a whole team of folks feeding information in that all the time. So please go take a look at it and certainly contact us if we can help you in any way.
Yeah. Rich, real quick, Farm Bureau does a lot of stuff. You're involved with the food bank and the Ronald McDonald House. Tell me quickly about that.
Well, we were fortunate enough, we're part of Southern Farm Bureau Insurance Companies, and they donated through Arkansas Farm Bureau Insurance $500,000 to the food bank here in Little Rock that puts out food through the whole state. That's a very important issue for us, that we take pride in getting back to feeding hungry people. And also Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation gave $50,000 to the Ronald McDonald House here in Little Rock that does so many for so many people.
Yeah, well, Rich and Warren, on behalf of all the farmers and ranchers, thank you for all you do, and thanks to Farm Bureau. We'll see you next week on Arkansas Farm Talk.
Thank you for watching Arkansas Farm Talk, brought to you by Heritage Agriculture and these fine sponsors.